D23 once again came back to show Comic-Con how to actually do an event, and it did so by opening with the most streamed movie in Disney Plus last year. And I bet you if I would get you to try to guess which movie that was, it wouldn't have been Moana. You probably thought that it was some Avengers film, some Marvel film, some even Frozen or a Pixar movie, but no, it was Moana, which is not very surprising considering that the music on there is iconic and probably classic. It's gonna be classic one day. And with that in mind, they announced Moana 2 as their opening at D23. The movie's gonna be coming out November 27th, 2024, and is going to see Moana as the leader of her tribe and basically trying to find if there's other people that exist other than her tribe. This is probably one of those movies that I want to see in theater just because of the fact that the music in this movie is amazing, and I imagine that the second one's gonna have even better music, so I can't wait to see this. Disney's been kind of on a $1 billion run this year. This is probably gonna be their third or fourth $1 billion movie this year. For a company that said that they weren't making enough money, they sure have a lot of $1 billion movies. At this point, I don't know who is in the business of doubting any of the movies that James Cameron's made. He's made the movie True Lies, which was the most random movie that you could ever think that James Cameron could make. He essentially made a comedy action film that was like Bad Boys, but better in my opinion, and it made a bunch of money. And he also made Terminator 2, he made Aliens 2, which are also iconic, and then he comes out and he's like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put Native Americans in space and they're blue. And y'all lost your minds. Billions of dollars at the first Avatar movie and billions of more dollars that Avatar 2 made, which makes sense that D23 announced Avatar 3 Fire and Ash. While there was no footage shown of Fire and Ash, there was some concept art shown, and they did give a release date of December 19th, 2025. And by the time this whole story of Avatar is over, I'm probably going to be 45 years old, but you guys will still be paying money to see this movie that I can't understand why people like, but enjoy what you enjoy. So D23 was coming out swinging, and of course they had to announce that Toy Story was going to come out with another iteration, and it was going to be directed by somebody who's had their hands on almost every single Pixar movie that you can think of, and directed WALL-E and Finding Nemo, which is Andrew Stanton. He has a great track record when it comes to Pixar and directing Pixar movies, so it's only right that he would be the guy that directed Toy Story 5. There wasn't really much details about the movie or footage shown. The only thing that they really said that the original crew was going to be going up against is 50 rogue Buzz Lightyear toys that are stuck in play mode, and they're just doing all kinds of mischievous things. That's about all they shared. Also, on top of that it's coming out in summer 2026. So yeah, Toy Story 5, and they're more than likely going to make a Toy Story 6. That's pretty much all they said. Considering that it took Incredibles 2 50 years to come out, I was actually quite surprised that they announced Incredibles 3, and it's going to be coming out relatively soon compared to the way Incredibles 2 took. I think it took like 10-15 years for that movie to come out. They didn't say when the movie was coming out. They just pretty much said this movie's in development and it's going to be coming out sooner than 10 years. So I was glad to hear that. I know a lot of people love the Incredibles movies. I know that people were screaming and crying for an Incredibles 2, and they finally got that, and well, you're gonna get an Incredibles 3. So if you enjoyed those movies, you're gonna be eating good. So what does Everything Everywhere All at Once and Zootopia 2 have in common? Well, they both have Ke Huy Quan, and everybody loves this actor because he's kind of like the underdog story of Hollywood, who really didn't have the spotlight for the longest time in his career, and the one time that he did have the spotlight, he won an Oscar. So it's really cool that Zootopia is finally coming out. I was actually kind of thinking to myself the other day that I saw that movie, why this movie never had a sequel, because it's really good, and I can't wait to see it. I love every single cast member from this movie in particular, and I love the story, and I like how good it was. Can't wait for Zootopia to come out. It's gonna come out November 26, 2025, and yeah, we're gonna get to see, what's her name, Officer Hops. She's cool. When I think of Frozen 1 and 2, I think of the amazing soundtrack that is in the movie, and almost everybody on social media using the song in some kind of way. If you loved Frozen 1 and 2, well, they're making a third one, and the director came out and said, coming out of Frozen 2, we still have a lot of questions. a lot of questions actually. Now you see why we need 2 films to tell the story. So not only are you getting a 3, but you're possibly getting a 4, which is good for everybody. I mean, like, if you like Frozen, you're gonna be eating good. You're gonna get 2 films. If the 3rd one does good, I'm pretty sure they're going to go directly into the 4th one and make it as quickly as possible because everybody loves Frozen. So if there's one thing that I've been saying Star Wars needs to do is it just needs to take a chance and try a new genre within its universe, and it's very capable of doing so because Star Wars' universe is vast and big, and if you want to make up a planet or make up an area of people live in, you can more than likely make that up. And Star Wars Skeleton Crew, that's coming to Disney Plus in November 3rd, 2024, is taking kind of a coming to age story, a Goonies story, or Stranger Things type story where you have a bunch of kids who are going on an adventure they really shouldn't be in but have to figure out how to do in the first place. The first trailer recently came out and it revealed that Jude Law is going to be in it, and yeah, this is going to be their first big live action show back on Disney Plus, and it's going to be, I hope it's really good because I really want Star Wars to be good. I really want them to try new things. I really want Star Wars to be what it used to be. Make Star Wars great again. That's all I gotta say. So it's safe to say that there's only 2 projects that people have like kind of like wholeheartedly loved and have come together and say, yeah, that's what Star Wars should be, and that's The Mandalorian and Andor. If I would have to describe Andor to you, it would be if HBO made a Star Wars property on HBO Max, and that's not trying to shit on Disney or trying to say that they're not good at what they do. It's just that Star Wars has kind of been the same thing for the longest time. They never really gave it a serious tone or like kind of a Nor adventure tone. It's always been kind of the exact same thing with the Jedis, the Force, and the Empire. But Andor kind of gave you a whole new look of that universe. It gave you a serious look, and it kind of made the world of Star Wars feel big and the Empire feel dangerous, and why there was a lot of the universe that rebelled against the Empire, because it showed how bad they really were. So if you like Diego Luna in Andor, they're going to make an Andor season 2. They didn't really reveal anything besides some concept art and some still images with moving pictures in the back, but Diego Luna did come out and say that he has been working with this character for the past 10 years and he really looks forward to working as this character again. Of course, it's like pure PR, but you can tell that Diego Luna takes this role seriously, because every time I see him on screen, he is giving everything he has to this character, and I really appreciate him for that. The only other details they gave is that the show is going to be taking place 4 years apart. Almost every other episode, some time is going to go by, so you'll see a lot of time skips in this show. They'll give you enough, like 2 or 3 episodes, and then they'll probably do a time skip similar to what House of Dragons did in season 1. As a person who liked the first season of Andor, I really can't wait to eat me some more Andor season 2. While we don't know what the release date is, they're thinking that more than likely next year, so we'll see when it comes out. Hopefully it's not in the next 3 years. There's been a bad habit with shows that, like high quality shows, they take 2 or 3 years to come out, and I'm not having it. I'm here for a good time, not for a long time. Please hurry it up. Now we're in my favorite part of D23, which is the Marvel segment, which of course my nerdy ass would love the Marvel segment. Like, I think you can guess by my background that of course I would like the Marvel segment. So if you haven't seen Wakanda Forever introduced Ironheart and kind of gave us an idea of what she's going to be like, and now she's going to have her own show in 2025, and it's going to be her trying to juggle the fact that she just made essentially an Iron Man suit in her garage and going to MIT and trying to keep up with her studies while battling supervillains, which I hope is really good, because Ironheart really didn't do much for me in the movie. Like, I'm not trying to be like one of those people like, it just really didn't do much. It was part of the story that I really didn't care about. It had really cool action scenes at one point, but I didn't really care about the character all that much. I really hope that this show really kind of gives us more of the character and gives us a more in-depth reason onto why we should care about the character. So if you're a fan of Daredevil season 1 and season 2 from the Netflix series, then you're gonna be happy to know that they are canon and they're officially gonna be part of the MCU. So Daredevil Born Again was announced at D23, which is going to be a continuation in some sorts. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some differences of things that happen in the show that are canon and aren't canon, but officially it is canon. And of course, with being said that those 2 seasons are canon, we couldn't have a D23 without announcing that Jon Bernthal was gonna come back and reprise his role as the Punisher, which he says that it's an honor to play this character again. And I'm pretty sure he is really grateful that Kevin Feige came in and scrapped 90% of Daredevil Born Again. Back when he gained his power back, he just scrapped all of it and said, we're gonna start with the 10% that we have here and go from there and refilm everything, which I'm sure the actors are really grateful for, because from what I've heard, it was gonna be a very PG version of Daredevil and it was gonna be very different from season 1 to season 2. Well, now we're gonna get the Daredevil and the Punisher that we originally know from Netflix, that is kind of bloody and gritty. And keep in mind that those first 2 seasons are on Netflix. So for the people who say, well, they'll never make anything as bloody as that show, they're on Disney Plus right now and people can watch them. So Disney really likes to portray themselves as this family-friendly area that people can come where there's no curse words and there's also no blood to be shown. But as the years go on, Disney's starting to understand that there's a bigger demographic besides that group of people that they try to cater to, and there's more money to be made. The rated R scene is growing more and more. 2 of the biggest films that are rated R are superhero films, which is the Joker, and I think is also going to be Deadpool really soon. They did show a Daredevil Born Again trailer that was exclusive to D23, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be releasing these trailers really soon by the time I'm done editing this, because there's going to be a Fortnite version of it sometime today. So we'll probably have high quality trailers very soon of things that were exclusive at D23. Daredevil Born Again will have the Kingpin and Daredevil teaming up in order to take on a new enemy, and it will be coming out March 2025. And I cannot wait to see this. Daredevil, the Punisher, and all these characters are so underrated characters because of the fact that they're so action-packed and so hands-on with their combat that it just gives you great cinema that I cannot wait to see. The first 2 seasons on Netflix had some of the best fight scenes I've seen in a long time. It felt like it was directed from a person that made The Siege or Oldboy, and I can't wait to see more of that. So everybody loved WandaVision. I know I loved WandaVision, and it was probably the best show that could kind of kick off Disney Plus and showing that Marvel had some bangers that they wanted to release as shows. Not all of them were very good, but some of them were pretty good. They were good enough, but WandaVision was probably the best one out of all the Marvel shows that we've had so far. The only one that I said could contend is Loki season 1 and season 2, but one of the standouts of the show was the actress that played Agatha. And the actress that plays Agatha, Catherine Hahn, will be reprising her role in It Was Agatha All Along, which will be showing her trying to reclaim her powers that were stolen by the Scarlet Witch, or reawaken those powers that she thinks were taken by the Scarlet Witch. And it will also have Aubrey Plaza, which who doesn't like Aubrey Plaza? And as her as a witch is kind of perfect, to be honest with you, because her weird sarcasm kind of fits perfectly as a witch. And this show will be coming out September 18th 2024, so we won't have to wait very long for that show to come out, and I can't wait to see it. The Percy Jackson fan base has been done dirty before, but I'm so grateful that the Percy Jackson fan base finally got a proper adaptation with a new Percy Jackson show, which if you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus and it's really good. It follows the first book entirely in season 1 and it completely wraps it up in season 1. The casting of the show was immaculate. Percy Jackson, the actor that they picked, was and every other casting in the show was spot on. And if you haven't seen it, you really need to go see it because they're already announcing Percy Jackson season 2, and they kind of tease a video and storylines of what's going to happen in season 2. It's going to follow book 2. I mean, who doesn't like Jamie Lee Curtis? Like, for reals. Jamie Lee Curtis is a national treasure, and I don't care what anybody else says, which makes me happy that they're making a Freaky Friday 2. Jamie Lee Curtis has been on a tear recently with her first Oscar from Everything Everywhere All at Once. If you haven't seen that movie, she's been killing it. She killed it really well in that role that she did. She won an Oscar, and rightfully so. But she's also come out in The Bear and has given me PTSD for it. So I can't wait to see what they do with Freaky Friday. They should be a lot of fun and less dark than The Bear and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Lindsay Lohan will be coming back to reprise her role with Jamie Lee Curtis, and the movie will come out 2025. The movie is going to be called Freakier Friday instead of Freaky Friday 2, which, hey, it's creative. It's better than just giving it a number. This one kind of surprised me in a good way because I'm a big fan of this movie, and they kind of give you a first look of live action Lilo and Stitch, and it's going to come out in theaters summer 2025, which is a lot sooner than I thought it was going to be. It's going to be a complete just live action version of Lilo and Stitch. I'm sure there's going to be some changes like the way they had it in Lion King, but I'm hoping that they stay true to what Lilo and Stitch is great, the spirit of Hawaii, the little girl story. Keep in mind, Lilo and Stitch is one of the most depressing, like, dark movies that I've seen in a long time that Disney's made, especially when I was a kid. So I really hope that they keep that feeling because the payoff at the very end of the movie is really good. So I can't wait. They gave us a sneak peek of what Stitch is going to look like in the movie, which it looks adorable and looks really detailed, more detailed than I thought it was going to be. Snow White is a property that's extremely important. This is going to be a complete remake of what we know from Snow White. It's going to be live action. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of changes from the original animation. You can't exactly make that animated movie into one-to-one version of what we know and want now of Snow White, so they're probably going to do lots of changes. They're still going to have the seven dwarves, they're still going to have the Snow White, and they're still going to have that infamous apple that we all know about. And they also gave us a first look at Gal Gadot as the evil queen. The movie is set to come out in March 2025, and I really hope that this is good. The live actions have been pretty good. I mean, to me, The Lion King wasn't as good as the original movie, to be honest with you. It was missing that oomph when it came to the voice acting, but hey, it was still good. If that movie came out today without the original animation coming out, it would have been considered just as great or better, but it had to live up to that original one, and it really didn't live up to that well. Tron 2 is probably one of my favorite movies that isn't really that good, but the music that Daft Punk made for that movie was really, really good, which made the movie really enjoyable and really watchable with all the visuals that it had in it. You take Daft Punk out of that movie and it's really not that good, which really explains to why Disney really wanted to keep the high profile composer that was going to make the movie for the next Tron movie, which is Tron Ares, and they picked Nine Inch Nails. Jeff Bridges will be reprising his role, and also Jared Leto will be playing one of the main characters in the show. Jared Leto is one of those guys that I'm like, yeah, he's a really good actor. He just has to have a really good director behind him to direct him in the right position, and I really hope that he kills it in this role because Jared Leto has had a couple blunders here and there, but I mean, the whole Joker thing really wasn't his fault. He played the Joker kind of like the old school Batman Joker gangster villain kind of guy that just kind of wanted to get a laugh. His laugh kind of sucked, I'm not gonna lie. His laugh kind of sucked. Tron Ares will have a new technological villain, which is just going to be a complete new villain from what we've seen in the first one and the second one. This villain will be trying to take over the actual real world outside of Tron. Tron will be premiering in 2025, and it will have a complete soundtrack of its own premiering alongside with it. So you know that this album for this movie is going to be fire. Nine Inch Nails has some iconic music in movies and just iconic music in general when it comes to composing and making their own music. So I'm really looking forward to see what they have for this movie. And last but certainly not least is Mufasa, the Lion King trailer, which is going to be a prequel to the Lion King, where we see Mufasa and how he became king, and the feud with Scar actually started. Of course, D23 gave us a tease of what this is going to look like, what Mufasa is going to look like. I think the most exciting thing out of all this announcement that I got of is that Lin-Manuel Miranda is going to be making the music for this movie. And if you don't know who Lin-Manuel Miranda is, go look at Hamilton and how viral those soundtracks have gone, because he made something that was traditionally boring and kind of not watchable, like in terms of like history, and made it interesting, fun, and digestible for you to be able to get, while being catchy and being a hit in terms of people listening to it. And if I'm not mistaken, Lin-Manuel Miranda also helped make the music for Encanto, which was amazing. So I can't wait to see what he does with The Lion King. And the movie, you won't have to wait for very long, because it's going to come out on December 20th, 2024. So I'm really looking forward to this movie the most, because they're putting a lot of production behind this. And especially hiring Lin-Manuel Miranda, this movie is going to be good, or at least I have expectations for it to be good. Thank you for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Which movie are you looking forward to the most? Tell me in the comment section which movie you're looking forward to the most. And remember, you're pretty good. Fire an ass.